Good morning, colleagues, our current partners, our future partners, my friends, my dear Rail Baltica family. Today I would like to share with you three things. I would like to talk to you first about motivation. What does Rail Baltica mean for us, especially in our technical team? Secondly, I would like to talk to you about the complexity, and I would like to share with you the four cornerstones, what we in technical believe that help us to tackle the complexities and deliver these challenging projects. And last but not least, I would like to share with you our latest view about the program time schedule and show what needs to be done and when do we think we can do it. So, motivation. I believe for most of us in the room, but especially I would say for engineer, it's immensely important that the work, what they do, is meaningful. In the heart of every engineer, there lives a little boy or a girl who wants to fly to the moon. It's so important that the stuff that we do makes sense. And I put in this great, nice picture. Rail Baltica is not just a piece of hardware and bunch of sleepers and fasteners and rails in the middle of the nowhere. It's part of the great big picture. It's part of the European transport network, and it is this missing parts, and it might even be perceived as the missing parts. And it's us, technical team, who has this opportunity to fill the picture in and make it perfect. And I would like to read a statement that yesterday's speaker, Bartosz Kecini, said that it perfectly matches with what we believe in the team. Rail Baltica has a unique chance to become the best-in-class example of a successful multi-country EU infra project. And for us, for our team and myself personally, it is a privilege to contribute to make that happen. So let's talk about complexity. In every mega project, there is no way around complexity. And the uncertainty is part of it. And what is the complexity for us? I would not say that complexity is design. There are a bunch of good designers around the world, here in this room, I believe. They know how to do it. There are quite a few good builders around Europe and world and in Baltics, and it's going to be a tough journey, but we will build it. But complexity is for me, is the project control. If you think about Rail Baltica, it's 4 countries to be connected. It's 4 nations, 4 governments, 4 languages, 4 surprisingly different cultures, and even quite different mindsets sometimes. And from a project control side, really, it is that we need to put that all together and find a good common way out of it. There is a saying in Estonia that when 2 Estonians come together in the morning to discuss something, then when the evening comes, there usually are 3 quite different opinions already. And in the next morning newspapers, there is a message that 4 new political parties have been established. And if you multiply that by 4, then you get quite a big number. I also need to mention the financing. It was covered yesterday by my colleagues already, but can you imagine that basically every euro that we have for Rail Baltica, it has a purpose tag and it has the best before tag. And you have to know exactly, almost many years back, where exactly you put that euro and when do you put that euro. And we all understand real life changes. And it's so difficult to change that purpose and past due date of that euro. And there's also one more aspect which I can't overlook, is that if you think about the value creation, then for a project like our transport corridor, the value is somewhere in 100 years. My engineers are basically looking at the useful lifetime of something like that. Our CBA has been calculated 2056. It's far away. For a normal person in the street, their perspective is somewhere a few years, like our government budgets, and maybe until the next elections. There's a big difference, and it's really difficult to understand sometimes, and to explain. But that might have been a bit depressive, so from now on, only positive thoughts. There are great opportunities with Rail Baltica. It's, all in all, it's fairly easy to build if you compare to other railway projects lately, like the one in Morocco, mountains, difficult terrain, all the big tunnels. I mean, Baltics is quite flat. The whole thing is greenfields. We have large inhabited areas. Baltic nations generally are quite open for new ideas. We are quite technology savvy. The project by itself, it's really excitement for engineers. So people actually come to us and ask, can we contribute? Can we join you? They send their CVs. Environmental gains, we in Baltics, we love our wilderness and our clean air, and we want to keep it that way. And Rail Baltica fits with that mindset. And also, I need to show and express my great gratitude to both the EU institutions and the persons behind them, and also every European taxpayer who believes in us and contributes. And now, how are we going to deliver it then? It might sound a bit no-brainer maybe, but believe me or not, so those things are really, really important in order to deliver anything, especially something so big. So about organization and people, we are a project organization, and we deliver through the partnerships with all of you, but the responsibility relies on us. So that means that we believe in a very strong in-house core team of professionals who can cover all the key areas and can take that end-to-end responsibility and also retain the continuity. It also means that we need to have a fair size organization in order to match with that demand. We strongly believe that the winning formula is the synergy. So we will bring in, and we have brought in, and we are bringing in people from around the world, from already done projects, so that they have made at least some of their mistakes there, and they bring the experience to us. And local people who have the good knowledge, experience from local markets. And we have our famous Baltic inspiring innovation mindset. And if we put those things together, I believe it is the winning team. And the team we have is located in 3 countries, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, but the people that we have different nations. We have French, Portuguese, we'll have Polish, Baltic people, so on and so forth. So it's lingua franca is English, of course, and the team is growing. When I joined a year ago, we were 17. Now it's somewhere close to 40, and it's growing as we speak. Then I need to mention about critical path. It's a big project, and it doesn't fit into one head. It's pretty obvious. So, in order to understand it and make any sense out of it, you need to sort of cut it to small pieces, and every piece has to have an owner, and that owner needs to understand it deep inside, and then you put it like a puzzle together, so you have a complete picture. If you have heard about maybe the salami principle, have you heard about salami principle? No? Salami principle. If you grab a big piece of sausage and try to bite it all together, it's kind of difficult to chew, and it's really salty and not good at all. If you slice it to thin slices, then it's a delicacy. This is what we're trying to do. To jump to technology, then we strongly believe in something which is we call digital Rail Baltica. We strongly believe that digital Rail Baltica is first and physical is afterwards. And what that means is that we believe in digital modeling. We believe that we should detect the clashes in the digital model. We believe that we should find the mistakes, as many as possible, in the digital model if something doesn't fit together. And we believe that in a digital model, we can actually, even the alignment between the beneficiaries, what exactly is that we are delivering, it's much easier in digital model. And it is much easier with our dear partners to ensure that we actually understand the whole thing in a similar way, and what will be delivered is the same that we thought. And that, of course, means the good tools. We have some tenders ongoing, so if there are any software vendors, hopefully, I met someone already, so please make your beats, it's the time. And it's, I also want to mention something which is, have you heard about leading edge and bleeding edge? Of course, we want to be in the forefront of innovation, especially with our greenfield, with such an opportunities. But sometimes innovation might turn into something which could become quite costly, time-wise and money-wise. So a good risk management in terms of immaturity of technologies must be in place as well. And last but not least, of course, safety in railways is paramount. We don't want anyone to get hurt in Rail Baltica, and environmental footprints must be minimized. So we rather do more than too little to mitigate. And then there's one thing which is not written, but I want to say that out as well, because it's really important. It's really important that people enjoy what they're doing, and that work is also a fun and a good joke at the end of the tough day usually helps over a lot of negative thoughts. So this is our technical team. And now I will share our thoughts about the project timeline. And as Karolis mentioned before, a lot of things have happened during the project and will most likely take place. So that this is our current view. So first, the planning phase. We have pretty much finished the planning phase. As with the mega projects, the planning phase tends to be kind of long. I just mentioned 4 maybe most important pillars that came out from a planning phase for us. One is the design guidelines, which is basically our mantra, what Rail Baltica should comply to, and then this design guidelines is compulsory, mandatory input material for designers. All the designs have to match with those requirements. Then I would like to mention there's operational plan, which is a kind of a modeling, first attempt to model the service. And that gives us input regarding capacities. It gives us the first trial to write down a timetable, and it gives also us input to design the stations and the plan for trains and so on. And I also wanted to mention preliminary and consolidated designs, which are both. The first one basically is the early view of what Rail Baltica should look like, and then consolidation serves the purpose of kind of homogenizing the 3 preliminary thoughts from 3 different countries into one picture, and aiming to find efficiencies and potential savings, improvements. And the team has done a really good job. If I remember right, we saved around 15 minutes of travel time by doing it, and there was close to 400 million euros to be picked up from the ground. Yes, and then design phase, as mentioned for the other speakers, we have entered into a design phase officially last week when we signed the first design agreement, and we signed another one yesterday. There are 7 design tenders cooking in different phases, which then we plan to, as you see, design phase, it's all in all 4 years. And those first 7 that we are trying to get on paper this year, we try to finish in 2-3 years. And then there's 4 which 2 we haven't yet full-blown started because of the financing issues, and then 2 are technically complex areas which needs to be further assessed for spatial plannings. And then the components you see on a picture, what is part of the designs, then it's value engineering, where you pick the actual final alignments. Then you have master and detailed technical designs, which basically are the Rail Baltica. This is what we're going to build, and with those you get the building permits, hopefully. And then you have, of course, spatial plannings. Then we have environmental impact assessments, which, as I mentioned, we'd rather do it more precisely than too lightly, because what we build is something that will remain in our countries for many years, and we don't want to really make mistakes that you can't change later on. And Karolis mentioned land acquisition as well, very important. You can't really full speed start it before you know exactly where you build, so this value engineering is input to that, but some areas we are fairly sure where the alignment is, and those areas you can actually do it, and it has been done already in several areas. And as you see in parallel throughout both design phase and the construction phase and testing phase, there's something which is supervision. There are quite a few different layers. I've been trying to learn what they all are, but they basically ensure that we're doing the right thing, that we are compliant, and that we finally get the license to operate.
Not 1 minute.
Yes, sir. So I speed up. Regarding construction, I think it's fair to say that we don't really know yet exactly how long it will take. We have planned more or less those 5 years, but the real life will show where we will be by that time. It's about embankment, it's about superstructure, it's about terminals, stations, it's about the systems like energy, like control and command, signaling, it's about telecom and many other things which needs to be done. Most likely, we really need a good project control because we need to do those things in parallel. In the same construction site, there most likely will be a few different vendors at the same time, so we need to make sure they don't collapse in some way. So yes, it's going to be a very exciting period of time, and we'll come back to you coming forums how exactly we will do it. And then last but not least, of course, commissioning is that where somebody must have bought the trains already, and training of people have already started, and we need to try it out in real life. It's very slow speeds and piece by piece, and higher speeds until finally the railway is ready to be launched commercially. And again, supervision runs until the very end in the parallel. And as the time is pressing, I have one last thought that I would like to share with you. And the thought is actually, some of you might ask that, nice talk, but when do you really believe you get it ready? And I think it's a very fair question if you might want to ask that. And I would say that we don't have really illusions in technical team, at least. Since the very beginning of the project, 2026 has been a highly ambitious and challenging goal. It's very difficult to achieve it, but it's not impossible either. So I would say it's a bit like in a high jump. You set the bar higher than you believe you can do it, and you train hard and you try hard, and maybe one day you can actually get over it. So from that angle, we keep on pushing towards that, and our belief is that somewhere 2022, 2023, when all designs are ready, when we know about the land acquisition, when we know about the environmental assessment results, then it's basically a kind of a moment of truth where we can come together and say, okay guys, here is what we are, where we are, and this is what we can do, we cannot do. So hang on, and I will come back to you in a couple of years and be more wise. So this is my part. Thank you very much. Sorry exceeding my time.